All right.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Urban Entrepreneur Show. I'm Anna Banks, your host. And tonight's episode is Leading with Purpose, Insights on Self-Leadership and Identity. And who's going to be speaking with us today is one of a truly inspiring guest. Her name is Barbara Frankson, and she is the owner and CEO of Second Chances Transformation LLC. Now, Barbara is not just a leader, but she is a beacon of empowerment and resilience. Now, through her company, she dedicates herself to uplifting others by turning personal pain into purposeful leadership. Oh, just let me say that again because I like that. She turns personal pain into purposeful leadership. And today she's going to be sharing some insights on self leadership, navigating professional spaces, especially as a Black female, and how to foster an identity that is rooted in strength and authenticity. Now, you know this is going to be a great show. So you want to take your pens and pencils out or whatever you're going to take notes because Barbara is going to deliver tonight. So, welcome to the Urban Entrepreneur Show, Barbara.
Thank you so much, Anna. It is a pleasure to be here. You know, every time I hear my bio or my introduction, I'm like, wow, I've come a long way.
As many of us have, right? Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Barbara, I want our audience to get to know a little bit about you. So, can you start by sharing how your unique background, and you'll be able to tell them about that, has influenced your approach to leadership and personal empowerment?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, for anyone who knows me or sees me, I always say everything is purposeful and then backwards, full of purpose. I have a sweatshirt, a t shirt, even a wine glass that people have made for me. So I am a true believer in that every single thing that we've been through from life is purpose filled. So I'm going to start off with a little bit to let you know where I'm from, right? Because I don't even have an accent. I'm originally from Jamaica. I came to the United States when I was about 9 years old. Um, the reason why my leadership skill is unique is because of how I started, how I got here, and what happened to me. So, and it's funny because I just started putting it together when God started giving me the pieces to the puzzles, right? So, when I was 9 years old, I was sponsored into the US by a Jewish family. My mother, my brother, my sister, my grandmother, and myself, five of us. Her part time, her full time allowed us to live in the maid's quarters. My mother was a maid, a housekeeper, whichever you prefer. And her employee, which was he was a former admiral in the United States Navy. I didn't even know what an admiral was. I was only 9, but he started teaching me leadership. He started teaching me leadership. How awesome is that, right? So I live in this house. And the reason why we lived there is so that I could have the opportunity, it was in the 70s, to go to a school that the educational system was more advantageous, right? But my mother also wanted me to know my people, to understand my culture. And so on the weekends, I would live in the inner city. And she said, Barbara, you have both worlds. So my mother, although she did not have a leadership title by for say what society would, but as a mother, I think that's one of the greatest leadership titles you can ever have.
Yes.
But she also showed me sacrifice because when she was in Jamaica, she was a professional and she gave that up to become a housekeeper, right? So the admiral would always tell me, well, Barbara, you have basically look everyone in their eyes, eye contact at all times, and to understand that no one is better or worse than you, and do not allow anyone to define you by the color of my skin, the color of my skin. And I would never have understood, because in Jamaica, we were just Jamaican.
Right.
There was no, maybe there was classism, but there was really not racism, because you can have whites, you can have blacks, you can have Chinese and Indian. We're just all Jamaicans, right? So he started teaching me that, and going to the schools where I would have teachers that I understood. They defined me. Excuse me one second, my dog. So I'm going to put him down. I'm going to give you guys a disclaimer. So they would tell me, well, Barbara, I remember getting a C one day, and they said to me, well, Barbara, you are not supposed to be as smart as us.
Wow.
Right? So then I started understanding from leadership at a very young age what that meant to look like me and to be led or to be in a space that did not look like me. But I was comfortable with it because I was used to it. So it was advantageous for me when I got older, right? I'm going to have to hold my dog because
Because you have to hold your dog.
yeah, because I have to hold my dog, and he does this all the time. Yeah, I know. So it was advantageous for me to be in both worlds. But I've also saw the former admiral. I saw him also navigate for my brother and my sister and myself to, as a strong leader, to say, you know what? They live here and they're to be treated as such, right? So, in working for the state, I worked for the state of Connecticut for 32 and a half years, and it was very hard. There were two positions I had that no other person that looked like me had woman or male. And it was very hard because every position I had 5 different positions I had to fight for. But guess what? My background, being in a predominantly white neighborhood, walking in predominantly white spaces, I was comfortable. I consider myself multicultural. So it did teach me a lot. I was comfortable with it. So I can go into a room regardless of whether they believe that I belong and know that I belong.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. That's, you know, I I'm almost speechless, only because that has happened to a number of, I'm just going to say women of color, but also just people of color.
Right.
Being able to navigate all of the spaces that we often find ourselves. So, in your journey, just listening to you, I have to know that self-talk has played a crucial role in your life. So how do you harness self-talk to foster self-love and maintain your leadership identity, especially in challenging environments?
Whew. Let me tell you, Anna, if I did not know God, whew. So the 2 greatest commandments, right, is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. But what I realized, especially being in the spaces that I have traveled, is that in order for us to treat our neighbors and love them as ourselves, we have to love us. So when people are not treating us a certain way, it's not a reflection of me, right? Say someone comes out and they're just looking at you for what they see, then it's not a reflection of me, because I've had to navigate. I've had a position, for instance, right? One of the positions I held, so someone could say that I can be the judge, the lawyer, the jury, right? I had all those roles, but it's just me that make the decision. And when I was on the phone, And because of my name, Barbara Frankson, they assumed that I didn't look like what I looked like. And so I had to basically speak to myself and say, okay, Barbara, this might be the first time they have had interaction with someone that knows who they are, whose they are, and can not will not allow them to define them by the color of their skin or even being a female, because that's a double whammy, right? It is a double whammy. So my self-talk, I know the importance of growing yourself, of investing in yourself, to saying, I am enough. Whether I had to put stickums all over my bathroom and say, I am enough, I have greatness in me. And I had to not only make sure that I'm saying the words, but I'm walking in it and I'm doing whatever it is that I need to do, right? Because one of the things that I used to do when I did what they said, a 4-hour, 10-hour days for 4 days a week to get 40 hours. And on Fridays, I would go in the inner city and I would go into the schools that were alternative schools. And I created a program. It was called Gifted Warriors. And it was because we're all born with gifts. Mark Twain has a quote that says the two most important days of your life is when you're born and when you know why. So I would go in there because I understood what it meant to be a Black female. I can't speak for a Black male, but I know how it is. I have brothers and I have sons, so I also see their struggles. But as for me, so I would go in and I created it for the young ladies. And I said, you guys were all born with gifted and warriors. You're fighting the wrong thing. You're fighting the wrong thing. And I would have them a mirror and I would have them look in the mirror and say, I am enough. The self-talk, I am enough. I have greatness in me. And I said to them, basically right now, it might just seem like nothing, but one day you will believe that because your thoughts become your words and your words becomes actions. Absolutely. And that is what I saw. So I've had to navigate going into meetings where no one looked like me and say, okay, Barbara, you belong here. So your self-talk and the action, but also it's growing myself. See, I have never let my education be minimized because part of that education, my mom died when I was 19. And by the time I was 20, I was living in the garage of Central Connecticut State University and getting 2 degrees. So my self-talk was, I didn't work this hard to be put in the back. I didn't work this hard to be overlooked. And I understood that I stood on shoulders of giants. Yes. And that I was also creating, it wasn't about me, it was about everyone that would come after me. So I understood that. So self-talk is very important. No matter how much you feel that you know, sometimes you're going to have those talks.
That's right. With me, myself, and I.
Absolutely.
Wow. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, self-talk, regardless of who you are, can be vital, because, even if you are of the more privileged race or people, there are still people that are very mean-spirited. There are people that still want you to feel that you are less than. And if you don't talk to yourself, you can succumb absolutely to their beliefs and thoughts of you, or you start to adopt it yourself. And so, wow, that is amazing. And I'm glad that we're talking about that, because self-talk, especially in leadership, and especially as we're talking about tonight, self-leadership is critical. If you're walking in whatever spaces you're walking in, if you're looking to move forward in your career, in your business, then you have to talk to yourself a lot.
Oh, talk about it.
Because a lot of people, they're not entrepreneurs. And I often say, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. And
Right.
so, how do you handle that? Sometimes the only person that you have to talk to is yourself.
Yeah. It also brings you to a better place. Slow to anger, quick to listen, slow to speak.
Absolutely. And so, Barbara, turning pain into purpose is a
Mhm.
powerful transformation. Like I love that so much. You saw I had to say it twice.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So, could you share a pivotal moment when you successfully turned a personal challenge into an opportunity for growth and leadership?
Oh, absolutely. Um, One of the hardest thing is in leadership for me. And ironically enough, when I finally got a leadership position, I was in Florida getting certified on the then John Maxwell team. So I got to put into action the things that I learned from him, from the transformational trips that I went to. And one of the things were, I know that I was responsible to bring in when people start in an organization in my area, I had to bring people in to tell them about what my area did.
Mhm.
I had about 17 individuals that I led, and most of them didn't look like me. So I brought some of them in with me, and I said to them, okay, I want you to tell everyone what your greatest challenge is in your position.
Mhm.
I want you to tell them the day in the life so they can see, because there might be an opportunity for growth. And they say, well, you know what? I remember when I came in and I saw that unit. So basically that. But I had a meeting with them prior and I said, I will never ask of someone something I'm not willing to do. So
Mm.
I'm also going to tell them how it is from my day, right? And I'm going to tell them my biggest challenge. However, because I'm going to share my biggest challenge with new employees, I feel that the people that I lead need to hear that. So I said, my biggest challenge is being a Black female in a white male dominated role and being treated in a way that is not conducive for my growth, is not conducive to how I see others that do not look like me. And I said, I know I make it look easy, but some days it's really hard. It started a conversation.
Mm.
It started a conversation, a dominoes effect, where I would have my individual auditors, examiners that reported to me say to me, Barbara, come so we can talk. And I remember doing the race with them. And I said, I want us to do this. They say, what's the race? We would stand up. And I said, we're going to do something, right? And I'm going to say some words. And anytime it applies to you, step forward. Okay. You were brought up in with opportunities that you didn't have to worry about food, light, or stepped forward. You were brought up in a two household where two people were in your household. You were also did not have to worry about your college tuition and so forth.
Mhm.
That's the line of the questionings. And when he looked, he saw that I did not move. And I said, I'm back here and you have a head start. So imagine how hard I had to work here to even catch up. So when someone says to you that I got this because of affirmative action or how I looked, please tell them to come and have the race with me. So it was a way to teach them, right? Because I do believe that's why we're here. And
Absolutely.
that's why I've also created a program called Breaking Barriers and Building Bridges, breaking barriers against racism and building bridges and standing in the gap for racism. Because I do believe that because I am multicultural and I
Right.
know both worlds and I'm comfortable in both worlds, but most importantly, I'm comfortable in who I am and whose I am because my pain prepared me for the passion for my purpose. There you go.
That's it.
Right. So when I say that about pain to purpose, I help individuals, especially women, to take the pain that was paralyzing them and use it to push them into their purpose. What is your purpose? I heard Myron Golden say it so eloquently. And he
Love
said,
Myron. Love
right,
Myron.
he said, your purpose is when what you love to do and what you're good at intersects. And your purpose is for what? To serve God and to serve people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yes. So when you realize that, and also with my voice, I was bullied from 4th grade to 11th grade. They tried to take my voice. Relationships tried to take my voice. Discrimination tried to take my voice. But it had to get to a place where you say, no,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm,
No more.
no more, no more. And we're all examples, Anna. People need to see us. They need to see Anna D. Banks, and they need to see Barbara Frankson. And they need to see us in a leadership position, because one of the things I was told is that I did not look like what a leader. No, they said to me, I did not have leadership qualities. And I corrected them. I said, nope, I don't look like what a leader in your eyes should look like. Because I had given them even a suggestion in an interview, and within 2 weeks, they implemented it.
Mm.
But I did not have leadership qualities.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, Barbara, because it's people who are marginalized even to this day, where people try to take their voices. Um, it happens. It happens everywhere.
Yes.
It happens, because of racism. It happens because of classism. I just returned from Cambodia last month, and I saw, women who are starting to become part of what they call the middle class, because there was none over there before. And they're starting home-based businesses, and things like that, because if something had happened, from what I understand, if something had happened to an older woman and her children decided not to take care of her, she'd just be out of luck.
Yeah.
And so, there's always a need for advocacy for people who are marginalized, for people who are whose voices are trying to who people are trying to silence their
Yes.
voices. And so I just am so grateful that even after your retirement and everything, serving
Yes.
the state of Connecticut for 30 something years, you're still on the move.
I know. A lot of people are shocked about that. They're like, Barbara, you should be traveling. I said, I am. I am doing all that, but I'm doing what I love.
Yes, yes.
I'm doing what I
And
love.
so, what strategies would you recommend to other Black, and I'm going to also include other minority women
Right.
who are striving to assert their value and navigate leadership roles in predominantly white spaces?
Number one thing is, do not be afraid. Do not be fearful. No, and part of not being fearful is understanding. If you're in that position, if you're in that room, you are deserving of being in that room. But also, never stop becoming. Never stop becoming. Until I saw my grandmother at 105, she was still ministering wherever she went. Never stop becoming, because guess what? Your legacy is every life you touch. I heard Maya Angelou say that. And it's true, because if you stop becoming and you stop growing yourself, then you stop believing in who you are and start believing what society says that you are, or what a retired person should look like, or what you should be doing, or where your strengths are. Don't you allow anyone to define who you are, because you know who you are and you should know whose you are. That's very important. And also, I would tell them, take care of your mental health.
Ooh.
Ooh, come on now. Take care of your mental health. I did not realize, Anna, until I left my job of 32 and a half years. First of all, COVID helped me out because they were in my house and this is my sanctuary.
Yeah.
Right. And I did not realize until I left, because I did it so effortlessly, right? Because that's what we do.
Of course.
When I got out and I brought my one little box home, my one little box, my one little box, and I brought it home. And days after, I just sat there and went, "Oosa, oosa." Just breathe, to understand the pressure, because people were saying, well, Barbara, you're not at the age of retirement, like you're going to lose such and such a percent. What's the use of staying somewhere where you're losing your life, where stress is killing you, where, okay, this is what I'd give anyone, no matter what color you are. Don't stay anywhere you're simply tolerated and not celebrated. Come on now. Do not stay where you are tolerated and not celebrated. And how do you know? You don't even have to ask. You already know.
You know.
You are not you are tolerated. And my thing is this: there is a business in all of us.
Yes.
Learn
Yes.
to fish. Learn to fish instead of buying the fish. Because my thing is this: I have fought too much to be in rooms, to be at the table, to squeeze in, to kick the doors out. I said, wait a second. But I realized, I thank God for the lifestyle I had. But when I had my own, it's no longer crumbs. When I had my own, it's something that I love and that I'm good at. When I had my own, it was what I was born for, because what that pain does and what that job does, it's a cycle. Are you living to live or living to die? So are we counting down the years? And if you find yourself in that way because you're comfortable in the uncomfortableness, then it's time for you to find something else, because you've outgrown that room. But so many times, that's why I said my first one was fear. We're afraid of coming out of the uncomfortable part.
Yes. Yes.
Because we don't know the unknown. But guess what? When you take that first step, oh my goodness. I remembered when I was leaving my job and the guard was telling me where to go to get my papers. And he said, you just go straight down this hall and go through those doors. Simultaneously, I heard God say to me, that's exactly what you do, Barbara. You just go straight and there will be open doors. And once you step in that open doors, there'll be more open doors and open doors and open doors. Because see, even when I joined John Maxwell team, I joined John Maxwell team in 2016. I left in 2021. I had been on transformational trips, and it's sad. Transformación está en mí, begins in me.
That's right.
So if you want something to change, then you have to change. You are the common denominator wherever you go.
That's right.
And that's the things that people have to realize, that any minority women, and one of my biggest goals, why I push so hard, is because I need to go back into my community. And I know that requires making money. And so many times, they're saying, well, Barbara, prosperity, the money's not for me. You can only live in one house, drive one car. Come on now, have but so much. But I want to create a legacy, not just for my children, but because legacies were created for me that I didn't know, because I would not have even been able to have a job at the state if my people didn't die for it.
Yeah.
And now we're afraid to stand up. Don't be afraid to stand up. That's another one. Don't be afraid to stand up. Know your value, know your worth, and know the laws. Know your rights.
Well, Barbara, there are so many people today that don't know those things. I know that, just recently, I wrote a book called, Retire Your Way. And and one of the reasons why I did that is because, there are so many men and women, but mainly women who have worked like you, right, for 20, 30, 40 years, and they don't take the step off. And even if they could, they don't know what to do with themselves. And yet, they have legacy already built inside. They don't have to run the sprint anymore. They can use some of that wisdom,
Yeah.
and be able to not only, like you said, help your own children, or your grandchildren, someone who's in your direct lineage, but someone else that's in a community. And I think that's one of the things that's really missing, because um, a lot of people who are retiring, they're still in relatively good shape. I mean, I'm looking at you, you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, what do we do with that? We've been given long life, to be able, because, it wasn't that long ago that when people retired,
Right.
how long did they live past that? I don't care
Right.
what age they were.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things, like I said, even when I was working, I was going into the community. Uh-oh, we got dropped. I think Anna, I see that I'm still going, so you're probably going to come back. So I'll just keep talking until you come back. But one of the things that I did was, while I was working, as I said before, 4 days during the week, 4 days during the week. I worked, but one day I went into my community. So when I retired, I started going into the community and I tutored. I helped, I think they were in third or fourth grade.
Mhm.
I kept talking because I didn't see
No,
you.
that's okay. I don't know. StreamYard kicked me out for some
Right,
reason.
but that's okay. So third or fourth grade. So what I was saying was I would go after I retired, I went into the school system and started tutoring, even
Mhm.
with my own business, right?
That's
Because I found it when I was working on someone else's dime. So I can find it when I'm working on my dime because I ruin my time now, right? Even more.
that's right. That's right.
So I went in and it was amazing. I think this young lady, I think it was either fourth or fifth grade, and I was helping them read. And I had said to her, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And she said, "A mother." And I
Mm.
said to her, "You can be a mother and then some. You can be." And so she said, so then I brought in a book that I keep on my coffee table because I used to have foster daughters. And I brought it to her and it showed all minority women that were doing things. And there was someone that was going to be a doctor. And by the end of the tutoring for that year, I said to her, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And she said, "A doctor." My presence.
And
My presence. She told
absolutely,
me.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm telling you, things are just so critical today. There's so much that people who are retired, they um, that are still in relatively good health, that
Yeah.
can be doing to really help to help our younger people. And not even those that they don't have to be kids, because there are some 20 and 30-year-olds that could use some mentoring, right?
Well, I have a 35 and a 27-year-old speak about it.
Oh my goodness. But
Speak about it.
yeah, so Barbara, one of the other things that I just wanted to, just to talk to you about is just looking at your goals.
Mhm.
So, how do you see your role as a leader now? evolving into further impacting community, whether it's here in the States or globally. And what do you see your role as a leader for Black women leaders? And I know you touched on this a little bit, but
Yeah.
really let's really go deep into that, because we, you know,
Yeah. My purpose, my purpose is around women, but like I tell people all the time, because my pain area is being a Black woman. That is my that is who's attracted to me, but I
Mhm.
also help white women. I help white males. But one of my goals is this, right? Is to touch as many women's lives as possible, millions if possible. And I've created a program that is going to a matter of fact, it is going the it's going to drop next month, and it's called Fulfilled Facilitator.
Mm.
And the reason why it's Fulfilled Facilitator is this, right? I remember one day when after I had retired, I was laying in my bed, and I was like, there it is, that missing piece, because so many times I was that hamster just going through. And I said, I wish I could bottle this. And then God told me, but you can't. And
Mm.
so through him, I get up every morning at 5 o'clock, and I'm in good shape because I ride my Peloton anywhere from 10 to 20 miles a day. Right. And because I believe that your body, your mind, and spirit has to be one. But, anyways, let me not deflect. But so the fulfilled facilitator. So, what happens with that? It's two things. You are going to be fulfilled because now, remember what I said, the two greatest moments of your life is when you're born and when you discover why. That is by Mark Twain. And listen, so to be fulfilled is to truly walk in your purpose using your gifts, and to finally have that freedom. And also, not only do you have the feeling of fulfillment, but you're fulfilling your purpose.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and then that comes peace. And what people don't understand is this. I guide them through biblical principles because that's how I was guided. That's how I got
Mhm.
through all of my things. So I've created a blueprint for that, and it will give a dominoes effect. And the reason why it's facilitator is because I'm teaching them how to do the same thing that I'm doing.
Yes.
That's impact. Because I've had 3 seasons of life: survival, success, what society defines as success, and now significance. And Anna, John Maxwell says, once you taste significance, success just won't do.
Mm-mm.
And I tasted it in 2017 when I went to Paraguay. And I tasted that, and I
Yes.
wanted more, and I saw the impact. So I created that. I in looking at everything that I've been through and put it into purpose, and saying, Barbara, the divorce, Barbara, the relationships, Barbara, the knowing what the light bill was going to be turned off, just teaching people to navigate and to be financially fulfilled. And financial freedom doesn't mean that you have cars, this, that. It means that from my profit becomes a nonprofit. My
That's
goal
right. Yes.
every single day, except for Saturdays and Sundays, I rest. So during the weekdays, every single day, I'm up at 5 o'clock, and my first meeting is with God. And my goals are all set. I have a to do thing, because what you want, if you set a goal and you don't do things daily to get to that goal, first of all, you're going to lose momentum. Second
Mm-hmm.
of all, it's just a dream. Write
That's
the vision and make it plain. Because
that's
if I
right.
brought you into my office now, you would see the vision is there. It's coming out. When God started giving me downloads, that's why I love getting up early in the morning and just saying, Barbara, add this, Barbara, add this, put the scriptures with this, put the scriptures with that. And it teaches. It
Yes.
teaches. So my goal is, like I said, to help millions of women using my speaking, my coaching, and my books to
Mm-hmm.
do that. It's impact. That's what we're here for. Influence, right? Leadership is influence,
Influence,
nothing more,
nothing more,
nothing less.
nothing less.
But
That's right.
what's the second part to that? You cannot show someone that they will not follow you unless you show them that you care.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
my thing is this: people over profit. And if you seek God first, everything else falls in line. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, Barbara, this has been a rich dialogue for me personally. Um, and I'm sure that there will be, like other takeaways from those that are listening today. But I would just, before we wrap up, can you give our entrepreneurs, three takeaways, three tips so that they can um, really focus on leading with purpose and doing so with self leadership?
Oh, absolutely. First thing you have to do is you're going to have to remove your distractions.
Mm.
You have to remove your distractions and the habits that are not serving you. Okay. Like for instance, me, I love Netflix, but it's not serving me. I'm watching someone else's life instead of impacting life, instead of walking in my business. So you have to remove the distractions. And with that comes boundaries. You have to create boundaries. You have to create boundaries and get into rooms. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. We'll buy that pocketbook. We'll buy those shoes. We'll buy the car. You get the idea?
Oh, absolutely.
But then when it comes to investing in ourselves and they see the money, they're
Yeah.
like,
The workshop.
the workshop,
the
right,
course.
the workshop, the
Going back
course,
to
the this.
school. Yes.
Yeah, the this, my services, no. I know my value and I know my worth. But anything that you don't pay for, you have no skin in the game,
Mm.
right? So be willing to take, because when you let go of what's in your hands, God lets go of what's in his, and his hands are so much bigger and it has so much more for us. So also from a tax point, since I worked for the tax department for 32 and a half years, make your business an LLC at least.
Mm-hmm.
Limited liability company. And so many times we get out here and we're like, okay, we're a brand. You're going to be a brand that could be sued. And everything taken. Do at least an LLC.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do at least that. And consistency. Guess what? It's going to be hard. I'm so sorry.
Like I said, entrepreneurship is not
Gonna
going to
be
stay hard.
It's gonna be hard. There's days where you're gonna say, why am I doing this? This is not working. That's why your why has to be big enough. And my humble beginnings, my survival mode, my valley moments are the reasons why I work so hard, because there are going to be second chances, transformational homes. Not and transformational homes. You see that, right?
Yes.
And God gave me that vision even before I started doing the transformational trips. But then I put it together. Transformation starts there. So for them, it's consistency. And it's do not allow money to determine how far you go.
Mm.
And that's where that leadership, your mindset, we hear coaches say that all the time, but come on now, you got to change your mindset. You got to change your mindset, because if you do not change your mindset, why do you think God says guard your heart and your mind? Because in there is issues of life. Your mindset, if you do not change your mindset, as Paul Martinelli would say, your BS, your belief system.
Your belief system.
Yeah, your belief system has to change.
Yes, yeah.
I remember when I thought 6 figures was it for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But 6 figures will take care of me and my household, but not the vision that God has over my life. Provision for the vision.
That's it.
So make sure your why is big enough, and make sure it's not money you're chasing.
Yeah. Oh, that is so good.
Yeah. I know I gave more than 3, but there's a
Well,
lot.
that's okay. That's okay. Barbara, I have truly, truly enjoyed our time here together. And I know that our listening audience has also done so. Um, you just keep going, keep showing us the way. Um, living the life that you've been given to live, that will set an example for others to do the same for their own lives.
That's right.
We're not left here by chance. And so someone once told me that we have value and we have purpose until we draw our last breath.
I saw it. I saw my grandmother, like I said, at 105. And we have to understand that some things that people words, that's life and death.
Yes.
Do not allow anyone to speak death into your life. And please don't do it yourself.
Oh, well. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
right. And it's good to see you too, Anna, because I see you. Right. And it's good to see because growing up, I didn't see.
I understand. I understand. Well, my friends, if this hasn't been just just an exciting and enlightening, a powerful, time on the Urban Entrepreneur Show with my colleague, my friend, my sister, Barbara Frankson,
Yes.
talking with us today about leading with purpose and giving us valuable insights on the importance of self-leadership and how it affects our identity. And so, Barbara, thank you once again.
My pleasure.
And so, as we wrap up this exciting episode of the Urban Entrepreneur Show, again, I just want to thank you, our listening and viewing audience, because the truth of the matter is, it is really our passion. It's our passion to support you, to give you voices that will speak to you, speak into your life, that you can draw strength from, because that's the thing that drives us. And we're just thrilled to have each of you who is our listening and viewing audience week after week with us. And so today's show was brought to you by Thrive Leadership Institute. But before I do that, I know that some of you want to find out how you can get in touch with this lady. And so let me just put her contact information out. You can go directly to her website, which is bfrankspeaks, bfrankspeaks.com. There you'll be able to find additional ways that you can find out how you can connect with Barbara and the services and the coaching, the training that she provides. As you can see, she is a dynamo, and so you will not be disappointed. That is for sure. And so, again, this show was brought to you by Thrive Leadership Institute. We are your go-to source for coaching, training, and other resources that will supercharge your personal and professional growth. You can find out more about Thrive Leadership Institute by going to thriveleadershipinstitute.com. But if you are an entrepreneur and you have an amazing story to share, tips to share, then I invite you to join us as a guest on the Urban Entrepreneur Show. Because guess what? We're all about sharing wisdom and experiences that inspire. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can find out more about the show by going to www.theurbanentrepreneurshow.com, where you can sign up as well as find out more about us. And so until the next time, Barbara, thank you again for being with us tonight. And for all of our listening and viewing audience, we will see you the
Yep.
next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.